Okay, fifth graders, I am gone today, so we're gonna do things a tish differently. You are going to watch this video and pause after I show you a step. Do that step and then keep watching the video and kind of teach yourself from my video. So the first thing I want you to do is to pull out this sheet of paper and grab a pencil. Okay, then I want you to follow along and I want you to write down what I write and kind of circle the same spaces and make your paper look the same as mine. So this is a face right here, and this line is halfway through the face. This one's halfway going up and down. And then this line right here is halfway between this line and the chin, and this line is halfway between this line and the chin. So this is the general proportions for faces. This line right here is the eye line. So you can write eyes right there. This one right here is where you want to put the eyes. So we'll do a circle here, more like an oval, I guess, an oval here. Don't worry about it being too perfect. They're not in quite the right place, but that's what it should look like. Okay, this line right here, this is where the nose goes. So you can just put like a curved line right on top of there, okay? This line right here, this is where the mouth goes. And there should be about one lip above, one lip below. Don't worry about drawing anything, just put shapes and lines to show that you know where they go. And then between the eye line and the nose line, that is where the ear goes. It's important to draw it kind of thin like this and not like this, because that's more like a monkey ear, and our ears lay flat against our head. Okay, don't forget that there's usually eyebrows and then the hair. So this part right here is actually way at the back, the crown of your head. So when we add hair, it always starts where the ear goes, or where the ear is, comes across the forehead and ends here. And there's usually some kind of like hairstyle above. So we'll just fake it till we make it. Okay, so that's the general proportions. Go ahead and finish that, and then you can come back and see the next step. I am going to set that aside now and just remind you that we are working on this. We made our painted papers last time. This time you're going to get a big piece of clear plastic like this. We're going to trace a face onto it, and then we will shrink it down a different day. So before we can trace onto the plastic, you will have picked up the picture of your chosen celebrity or person that you want to draw. So the first step you need to do is you need to take a Sharpie and you need to trace the different facial features. So you might want to, as you go, watch how I do the eyes, pause the video, then come back and watch how I do the nose, pause the video, and watch how I do, and so on and so forth. Okay, so for the eyes, a lot of students will just go like this and trace around like that, and that's not gonna work. You need to actually trace kind of like the white of the eye, the eyelid. Okay, you need to also trace the iris and color in a pupil. So this one I would do something like this, something like this. Some of you may want to add eyelashes. I don't think I'm going to. It can look a little bit goofy sometimes. So I'm going to leave my eyes like that. To do eyebrows, you don't want to draw each individual hair. You want to pretend it's a shape, trace around the bottom, come around to the top, and turn it into a shape. Same thing with the other side. Remember, you can pause this video as you're watching and then come back when you're ready. Okay, for the nose. Noses should not be drawn like a triangle shape. Instead of turning a nose into a shape, we're going to just draw a few basic lines. You can do a nose in about 2 to 4 lines, depending on the nose. So with this one, I'm going to draw a line here and a line here, and then this curved part on the inside, okay? And so that's 3 lines so far. Sometimes you have to color in the little nostrils, but I'm not going to do that because they're not very dark. Now I would pick the darkest side of the nose, which in this case they're pretty even, but I'm gonna just do this one and just draw a line over here, and that is optional. You do not have to do that step, but some of you might want to. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the mouth. It is very important. This one is a closed mouth, so I will use 3 lines. If it's an open mouth, you would use 4 lines because you need to draw the top of the lip, and the bottom of the lip. And then if it was open, you'd have to do that again. The top of the lip and the bottom of the lip, like that. Now, this guy has facial hair, so I'm gonna treat it like an eyebrow, and I am going to just trace around the facial hair as well. Feel free to like skip past this part if you don't have facial hair. You don't have to watch this part of the video. Go ahead and skip it if you need. Okay, but everybody wants to trace the face. You'll want to trace the ears like this, exactly how you see them. Don't try to make it up or anything. They usually can't see the ears too much when they're facing forward. For the hair, it's exactly like the eyebrows. You want to trace the outside edge like this. And so for this guy, I might, kind of sort of follow some of these points to show the like kind of hairstyle that he has. If it chops off the hair a little bit, just like try to fake it. Like that. Alright, almost done. Remember, you can always kind of speed through parts of the video if you don't need to watch all of it, or if you understand. Okay, make sure you do the neck. Make sure that you add clothing. If their person is wearing clothing, make sure you trace around those details. I'm going to take this shoulder and I'm going to keep it going off the edge of the paper so we don't have any floating heads. All right, then I think we're done. If you want to, you can add a few lines on the inside of the hair. This is just optional. Usually I would do this for long hair ladies or gentlemen. Trace a few of those lines, and then here's a good test. Just turn your paper over, see how it looks on the back. One thing I should mention is if you have teeth, you can trace each individual tooth, but it can look a little goofy, so I would recommend just leaving it as a white space. So I've got everything on here. Looks like I'm all covered here. I might want to add a couple more lines on this side, and then I'll be ready to trace onto my plastic. Like this, not too much, just a few. One more. Okay, there we go. Looks great. Okay, so now all you have to do is take your plastic and lay it on top. I would line it up with the bottom of the shirt like that. And it shouldn't move around too much. It's kind of staticky plastic, but you're just going to start retracing all those lines to get it onto the plastic. I would really recommend you stick with a regular Sharpie on this, because these lines that I'm drawing right now on the plastic, they shrink. So they'll get really skinny when we shrink it. If you use a skinny Sharpie right now, I don't know what those lines would look like once we shrink it. It'd be hard to see. So you're gonna retrace all of this onto the plastic. And then the final step would be, if you want to, if you finish, you can add some colored details. I don't want you coloring the whole thing in because we're gonna add those really cool painted papers in the background, but you could add some colored details. So like, I could color in his eyes brown. I could color some stripes in the background or some polka dots, or I could pick a couple key things to color in, but I don't want you coloring in the face. I don't want you because the Sharpie doesn't look super good if you color in big spaces on this plastic. My last piece of advice would be to steer clear of the dark colors like these. These ones actually look black once we shrink it. These like lighter and brighter colors look a lot better after it's shrunk because they get darker when we shrink it. They become more concentrated. So try to finish all this up today so that I can get them shrunk and we can assemble them next class. Okay, so I have finished my artwork. I finished tracing. I've got all the pieces. I put some lines in the background just to make it a little more colorful and interesting. But I made a little mistake here. I accidentally turned my nose into a shape. So in order to erase a mistake off of this plastic, you want to use an Expo marker and just carefully, you want to kind of just go over kind of scrubbing those places a little bit. You want to make sure that you kind of, yep, so just go over the parts that you want to erase and then let it dry. That's very important. You have to let it dry all the way. You can blow on it. And now it's not shiny anymore, so I know it's dry. And then you can just use your sleeve. You could use a paper towel or something. Just erase it. So it'll only erase the parts then that you put the expo marker on. The final thing I want you to do, and this might not be perfect because your face might be angled differently or might be bigger, but I want you to see how closely it lines up to the proportions on your proportion sheet. So mine actually lines up pretty perfectly here. I've got my eyes on the eye line, I've got my nose right above the nose line, and the mouth is right on the mouth line. So that's the basics of facial proportion. When you're done today, I do not want you to throw away anything. I want you to take this sheet, and this sheet and put all of these in your folder. You also can go ahead and get your painted papers off of the drying rack and put those into your folders, please. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day today, and I will see you next week. Bye.